Well, good morning, everybody, and my name is Claire Day. I am the Chief Program Officer at the Alzheimer's Association Northern California, Northern Nevada chapter, and I am so excited to be here for our November Facebook Live show to give you a little bit of an update on what's been happening at the Alzheimer's Association over the last month. Some of you may know already that November is National Caregivers Month. It's an opportunity for us to honor caregivers around during November. I'm always thinking about those caregivers that I've had the opportunity to work with over the years since I've been working with the Alzheimer's Association. And if you haven't seen it on our website, alz.org, you can actually leave a tribute for a loved one, tell a little bit about their story, and honor them during National Family Caregivers Month. So I encourage you all to check that out. We're so excited to be here today. We're going to be joined in just a few minutes by Lisa Choquette, who's our helpline manager. Bring a little bit of our staff to Facebook Live so that you kind of get to see a little behind the scenes of what we do. And again, just remember that our services and programs are always available for you either through our helpline or through our website. And so I want to talk a little bit this morning about some upcoming events that are happening around the chapter area today. Most notably, and we'll get to that slide in just a second, there are two events this weekend, or happening in this week. One is just on Saturday. It's our Circle of Care Educational Conference that'll be happening in San Mateo County. And while registration online has closed, walk-ins will be available online at the door for that. So I think my technical assistance is coming now to pull that slide up for me. So there's the Circle of Care Conference in San Mateo this Saturday, December 1. Don't try and register online because that's not live anymore, but there will be walk-ins available. And then next week in Yountville, if you live in the North Bay region, we'll be celebrating our Understanding Memory Loss Conference. You can join me there. I'll be there along with other experts around the area that will be providing the latest tips and strategies in caregiving. And these are just a couple of our events that are happening. We have all of these educational opportunities and programs that are available throughout our entire chapter territory. Whether you're just learning for the first time about the disease and wanting to take a basic class, or whether you need some more in-depth tips on some strategies around caregiving, the best place to go is to our website to find the schedule of those programs, alz.org/NorCal, and find those chapter events that are happening. But also, it's exciting to know that you can always call our helpline, 1-800-272-3900. I want to say hi to Glenda. She's watching. Hey, Glenda, great to see you here on Facebook Live. And I hope that you'll connect to our helpline as well. And speaking of helpline, I want to bring up Lisa Choquette. Lisa is our helpline manager. Now, Lisa, how long have you been now at the Alzheimer's Association?
Well, I've been with the association here in the Northern California, Northern Nevada chapter for almost exactly 3 years. Started in December. And prior to that, I was living in Oahu and worked at the Aloha chapter for a couple of years there. So.
Yeah, I think all of us are a little jealous that you had that opportunity to work at the Aloha chapter. We, as many of you know, the Aloha chapter is considered to be part of our region, and our chapter executive, Elizabeth, often gets the chance to go there, and we're always volunteering to go with her, and for some reason she just won't take us up on it. But this is a really important time for people to know about the helpline.
Yes.
The holidays, the winter time, all of those different things. Do you have any suggestions on what families should be calling the helpline for, or strategies that they can use, especially around the holidays?
Yeah, sure. So around the holidays, we do get calls from family caregivers who are asking us about, they're going to have family coming, there's going to be a lot of hubbub. What are some things they can kind of do to prepare for that? And a lot of times what we advise them is if they're having families come over or friends coming to visit the person with dementia, and maybe they haven't seen them recently, is to maybe kind of prepare them. They may want to reach out to family and friends who haven't, maybe are coming in from out of state, to let them know, hey, it's been a while since you've seen mom or dad or my husband, your father, and you may notice some changes related to the dementia. So just want to let you know that if you notice some memory loss, maybe some repetition of questions, that type of thing, this is a normal thing to happen, and it's okay. Just make sure that you don't ask too many questions that rely on recent memory. Maybe asking questions about what was Christmas like when you were young? What are the kind of things you did when you were a child? Those kind of questions that rely on long-term memory may be easier to connect with the person. And also just to try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Don't have too much confusion. For a person with dementia, routine tends to be very important. So as much as you can keep the regular routine of their life, that's helpful. Maybe having friends and family come to visit at smaller groups at a time, or if you do have a lot of family that comes for the holidays, having someone that maybe a schedule to take mom into another room to sit and talk with her personally, so she can have some quiet time and not if she gets a little anxious around a lot of people and all of the talking. So there's some simple strategies that we can provide both on the helpline and on our website as well that are very helpful.
Yeah, I think the struggle that I hear families go through is that feeling of really wanting to make things the way that they've always been, and struggling with making those adjustments, either because we sort of all have this image of what we think the holidays should be like, but then if we do amend and decide not to maybe have mom or dad join for the whole event, because honestly it could be in their best interest, the guilt that goes along with that, the family caregivers experience as well. And that's what I love about our helpline. So families and people can call that number 24/7 and just talk about how they're feeling around those issues, and get some strategies and get some advice. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I really appreciate your expertise, and like I said, I think the helpline is one of those things that it's probably our most used service, because not only does it connect you to people like Lisa and the rest of our team around the chapter territory that answer those calls, that follow up with families, that respond to all of those inquiries that come in, but it also connects you to all of those other things that happen around the chapter network. Great. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
And speaking of other things that happen around the chapter network, you may know that we have just finally completed our 2018 Walk to End Alzheimer's season. That's another reason why many of us at the Alzheimer's Association love November, because by this time of year, it's usually over, the walk season. And boy, did we have a phenomenal walk season here at the Northern California, Northern Nevada chapter. I just want to share with you a couple of our we've had 18 walks and 18 successes. Let's be honest. Every single one of these walks was led by an amazing volunteer committee, staff partners, volunteers who showed up in not so great weather all the time. There were some chillier days, some warmer days. They came out and brought their all to help us raise funds that go towards care and support for people living with the disease, as well as research. And our final numbers are not in yet. One really important point to think about: if you are a walker and you've been doing some fundraising, November 30th is the last day to qualify for your incentive prize, a little thank you that we offer for volunteering your time, treasure, and talent to raise money for the Alzheimer's Association. And so if you're sort of aiming for that next level of incentive, I would recommend you get all that fundraising in by 11:30 so that you can count towards your those incentive levels. However, it's important to know that the walk season doesn't officially end for us until December 31st. That's the last day that walk donations will be accepted for the 2018 season. You know, we've had some really remarkable walks this year. You can see in the blue here, these are 4 of our walks: Chico, Humboldt, Modesto, and Stockton, that have all already exceeded their goals, and all of our other walks are so close, just kind of channeling on there to get to their level. But I do want to mention that the San Francisco walk is just today about $9,000 shy of hitting $1 million. And really a remarkable walk we had in San Francisco just a few weeks ago. And so that would give us 2 walks that are over $1 million across the 600 something walks in the country. That's pretty awesome. There's a big opportunity here for us to thank all of the volunteers, all of the walkers, everybody that kind of comes together to raise awareness and money to fight Alzheimer's disease through the Walk to End Alzheimer's. You know, for me, walk season is year-round. I've been walking in the Walks to End Alzheimer's since 1994. I like to tell everybody I started when I was 15, but we know that's not true. And since joining the Alzheimer's Association, I get to go to multiple walks every year. So the San Francisco walk, which was the last walk I participated in this year, was my 87th career walk to end Alzheimer's. And I just love every one of them because they're all unique and different depending on the community, but bring together people who are truly committed to making a difference in this fight. And so our heartfelt thanks to all of you. And you know, as we start to think about the walk, there's other events that are going on around the region and ways that you can connect and engage with the Alzheimer's Association if walking's not your thing. You know, the Longest Day is our second signature event. This happens around the summer solstice every year. But we've got a really great incentive right now. If you register for the Longest Day by the winter solstice, which is 12/21, you can receive a free insulated cooler bag plus a complimentary upgrade to that premium performance grade t-shirt, which everybody loves so much. The Longest Day is all about love, right? It's all about doing things that we love to raise money and awareness about Alzheimer's disease. So if you're not familiar with it, definitely check that out on alz.org. And then there's another great event that's happening. If you're a wine connoisseur like I am and a fan of sipping on a nice glass of red or white wine, the Inspire Napa Valley Winter Wine and Food Fete is for you. This is a fun and festive event. It's under the leadership of wine industry tastemaker and Inspire Napa Valley founder Karen Lass, a wonderful volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association. It'll feature hot hors d'oeuvres, heavy hors d'oeuvres, more than 20 different exceptional California wines, and really is a premier event if you're a wine lover in the area. So the best way to get information about that is to visit their unique website. It's inspirenapavalley.org, and tickets are available for that event. Now, the events aren't all we do. Care and support isn't all we do. We also are leading the way in some really cool advocacy events around the country, and certainly here in both California and Nevada. So if you happen to open your email this morning, you might have seen some breaking news about the BOLD Act. So just this morning it was announced that the BOLD, which is the Infrastructure for Alzheimer's Act, advanced to the Senate. So this is just in today from the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, or the HELP Committee. This is led by Chairman Lamar Alexander from Tennessee and Ranking Member Patty Murray from Washington. They've advanced this Building Our Largest Dementia Infrastructure for Alzheimer's Act through committee markup. So what this means is once this legislation passes, it would establish centers for excellence across the communities, across the country, that will expand and promote the best of care, early detection, diagnosis, all of those things that will advance care and support for people living with the disease and those who have yet to be affected but will be one day. Additionally, it's also going to provide federal, state funding for and local funding for public health committees, departments. So this is a chance for us, if we can move this legislation through, to really change the landscape of how we are not just funding and supporting Alzheimer's disease, but the way that we're raising awareness and building a structure that will actually support people living with the disease. So we're really excited about that. This was late breaking news this morning, so great timing for us, and especially a big thank you to all of those advocates. We have thousands of advocates across the country who get these emails leading up to these big asks and these big moves within Congress and act on them. They call their legislators, they email their legislators and tell them to make Alzheimer's a priority. So you all do this. You have all made this happen, and we're so very grateful that that we're able to report on these great wins within the public policy realm of our work. And there's some other important dates coming up. We have our, if you could go back just one, sorry. We have our California State Advocacy Day. So if you're an advocate and you live in California, on February 5th, we'll all be gathering at the Capitol for our State Advocacy Day. Our Nevada State Advocacy Day is on April 16th, 2019. And then if you've ever been to the Advocacy Forum, you know this is a must-go-to event. If you're involved in public policy, March 31st to April 2nd, that's held in Washington, D.C. And that is just the sort of culmination of all of our advocacy work throughout the year, a great opportunity for volunteer advocates, our amazing ambassadors and congressional team members to kind of come together, learn what's new, learn about our key priorities, and then the best part is on our last day, we turn Capitol Hill purple in Washington, D.C. and go and visit all of those legislators. So really exciting stuff coming out of our public policy team. And you know, you can't talk about public policy without talking about research. The two really are so interconnected because it is all these public policy wins over the years that have advanced our Alzheimer's research to the point where we're now over $2 billion a year in NIA-funded research that goes to improve the outcomes of some of these trials, to support these scientists who are doing amazing work. And you know, we always hear about the latest news. I always joke with my team about the fact that you can't really pick up an email these days without seeing some new headline about Alzheimer's research that's making some sort of breakthrough. Well, we got one of those this week, and I should say that it's really important that when we see these headlines that seems like it's going to be the next sure thing to cure Alzheimer's disease, that we really kind of take some time to break that down and look at what that really means. Well, this week it was about a study out of the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, and they've published an article in the journal Alzheimer's Research and Therapy about studying experimental vaccines that reduced accumulation of both the amyloid plaques and the tau tangles in mice. Now, what's really interesting about mice and Alzheimer's disease is that mice don't get Alzheimer's disease. We have to genetically create the disease for them. As my colleague and friend from UCSF, Dr. Gil Rabinovich, always says, when we use mice in these experiments, we have to give them Alzheimer's, right? That's his little way of explaining how we have to create the Alzheimer's. We have to create those plaques and tangles in the brain of a mouse so that we can try some of these treatments before taking those to any sort of human trial. It's a great opportunity for that ability to test safety in a lot of these trials. And so what this vaccine has been tested to show is that they have been able to reduce some of these this accumulation of plaques and tangles in the brains of mice. This is very, very early on, but it's very encouraging and exciting, and we love seeing these stories because it's really why the research funding and all of these pieces coming together that's changing the face of Alzheimer's disease are so important. Because we need to advance that next treatment. We need to find that next treatment sooner rather than later. This is really a well-conducted research by a first-rate scientific team, but this is early. So while it seems really encouraging, we do appreciate that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done here. And so people will then often say to me, so what do we do in the meantime? We're waiting for all of the results of any current research that's happening. We know that there's lots of research being newly funded that will potentially show new outcomes and new treatments that might be available in the future. Well, I would say we want you to register and participate in Trial Match. If you're not familiar, Trial Match is our registry program for people to fill out a profile that helps connect them to a potential participation in a clinical trial. And people do this either as a healthy subject or as a person living with the disease who truly want to make an impact on the future of care of treatments for Alzheimer's disease. So if you have more questions or want to find out some more information about any of our research efforts, visit alz.org/research. You can visit Trial Match through any one of our pages on the website and really learn a little bit more about how you can get involved to make a difference in the lives of those living with Alzheimer's disease. So as we sort of wrap up today, I just want to remind everybody as we're going into the holiday season, please stay connected to us. We are here for you. This can be a very challenging time for families. There's a lot of things to do, there's a lot of places to go, and whenever you have a change in routine for someone living with Alzheimer's disease or a related dementia, it becomes that much more challenging for families. So we just want to remind you that we're here. We want to wish you all a very happy holiday season. We know we've had a tough year here in California over the last several months, especially with the fires up in Butte County, and we're continuously trying to provide support and outreach to people living in that region who may need our help, who may need information. We want to be here for all of you. And so with that, I say thank you. Thanks for joining us here on Facebook Live. Don't forget to visit our website, call our helpline anytime you have questions or comments, and most importantly, thank you for all that you do. We can't do our work without a community behind us supporting us. So thanks and have a great day.